All of the action from the Rand Merchant Bank Buffalo Regatta is proudly brought to you by the Eastern Cape Department of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, Buffalo City and the Eastern Cape Development Corporation. We welcome you to the coastline of Buffalo City, the best kept secret in the Eastern Cape. It's a city that boasts great weather 24/7, 365 with pristine coastline and a bustling hub of activity. But that's where we're heading, the Buffalo River, for the start of the 32nd Rand Merchant Bank Buffalo Regatta. It is by far the oldest running sporting event in the country. It's even older than the Currie Cup. And every year the country's top rowing clubs and schools get together to compete for honours in this prestigious event. Travelling all the way from Somerset West, the girls from Somerset College were ready for the weekend's action.
It's great. Usually, rough conditions. We got a good day today. Hoping, for some fast racing, some good results. Kind of good to get our feel for SA champs, test ourselves against the other schools, so it's exciting.
This regatta, obviously on a river, and we're lucky enough to have trained in tougher conditions, so if the weather does get bad, we're on it already. And this is basically prep for, like Sophie said, prep for SA champs.
We asked the coach what the preparation was like for the event.
I think it's important that the rowers feel prepared, so we really try and focus on all aspects. So we try and get to the water as much as possible if the weather permits. If not, we have quite a few erg sessions so we get the mileage down. We also have a few gym sessions working on conditioning, and then also technique, really trying to make an efficient stroke for the girls.
The boys from St. Benedict's College always perform well at the Buff.
Obviously, since you train so much in River Plata and you're spending a lot of our time racing against schools from Gauteng, you just get used to that water a lot. And you come here, I think it's just a good experience to get a new type of feel for where you're rowing in your place. It's interesting.
The Buffalo Regatta offers teams the last chance to check out the opposition before the Nationals in Roodeplaat. We also wanted to know from the coaches what makes this event so unique.
The most exciting things about the Buffalo Regatta is you're right here at the finish line. You can see the crews coming in very clearly. The race is right on your feet, and it's a very exciting regatta. It's the most regatta-like regatta that we do in South Africa. It emanates and reflects the regattas of England, and it's a wonderful atmosphere. The crews are all together.
Well, it's compared to Roodeplaat, it's a better vibe. There's nice music. I feel like it's more intense. You can concentrate better. Find a better regatta than Roodeplaat.
Rand Merchant Bank have put their weight firmly behind rowing in South Africa, and they're also the premier sponsor of the Rmb Buffalo Regatta.
The Buffalo Regatta is a prestigious regatta in our country, and it's got a lot of history. And so for RMB, it's one of our 5 regattas that we do sponsor in the country, and it brings rowers from all over the country together. And so we're really proud to be able to support it. Not only do we get to support the sport and bring people together, but a percentage of the money does also go to development rowing and empowering the local people around here to experience rowing. And last year they were able to send a team up to SA Champs, which was amazing.
Without partnerships, an event like the Rand Merchant Bank Buffalo Regatta is almost impossible to run. This year the Eastern Cape Development Corporation came on board.
So the ECDC is the official investment and trade promotion agency of the Eastern Cape Provincial Government. We are a development finance institution as well, and we are essentially the economic development agency of the Eastern Cape province. Well, the Buffalo Regatta has got a proud history going back 132 years, and we were keen to partner with our colleagues in Buffalo City, work with private sector and sporting sector in ELBA, as well as our colleagues in DISRAC, to support an event that profiles the metro, profiles the Eastern Cape, brings people into the province, and in our case we are keen to showcase the province as an investment destination.
The Buffalo Regatta consists of 3 days of action, with day 1 mainly consisting of qualifiers for the big event happening on the Saturday over a distance of 2 kilometers. Everybody wanting to get the fastest times on the day to get into those main heats on the Saturday. After spending about 10 minutes on the banks of the Buffalo River, you soon realize that rowing is a sport that requires quite a bit more dedication than most team sports.
Rowing is unique in that it takes a whole crew to work absolutely together in unison. So, for instance, in other sports, although they have many merits and some great things about them, with rowing, you have to get everyone doing exactly the same thing together in order for the boat to work well. So, in many senses, people refer to it as an ultimate team sport because it takes that level of trust, of technical ability, synchronization together. So, it really places a unique demand upon all the athletes who do it.
Planning for an event like the Buffalo Regatta takes a lot of planning and dedication. ELBA, the East London Boating Association, puts the event together, and we met up with Philip King to find out exactly what it took to lay out the lanes.
Yeah, we started the initial process about 2-3 months before, but now the hard work, the actual physical work, we've been going for about a week, 2 weeks now, and today we're doing the laying of the lanes, which is quite a time-consuming job. But it's beautiful conditions to do that today, so we should hopefully be done by the end of the day. Yeah, we were here at 6 o'clock this morning, setting it up, setting the buoys up on the ends, and then it's 2 Ks and it's 7 lanes, and it's a slow process. We've got to drop a buoy every 20 meters onto a cable that runs under the water, and we try and keep it the gaps tidy and equal. So and it looks good. It looks good at the end of the day.
Day 2's action is all about the Selborne Sprints, run over a distance of 500 meters. It's high impact racing, and with perfect weather conditions, it was going to be an awesome day of action on the Buffalo. We were keen to find out the history of the Selborne Sprints and how this event all started way back.
It started in 1960, and it was the brainchild of the then Selborne coach, a legendary guy, Mr. Trevor Shelver. He was always a big advocate of sprint racing for the younger kids, the juniors, because rowing is a physically very demanding sport. So if you can reduce the race to a distance that's exciting for the boys, but without literally killing them off, that was his argument. And he managed to introduce the Selborne Sprint Regatta as a mini event within the Buffalo. And I think the first regatta started off with about 12 boats, so it was on a very small scale, and it was sandwiched in between within the Buffalo program. And over the years, it's just grown in popularity, and it's now become a fully fledged regatta all on its own.
So as we get into the business end of the Selborne Sprints, the first race of the day, the Junior Women's First Eights, and a great pleasure for me to welcome back to the studio Kate Godfrey. Kate, a great start to the Selborne Sprints with this event that just seems to be growing every year.
It's great to be back again. We had a fabulous Buffalo and Selborne Regatta. We're pushing girls' eights. That's how you make the sport grow. This year we had 2 Clarendon eights, and you can see we had 5 entries in the women's eights.
4 teams fighting it out for this one. Clarendon having 2 boats in there competing against Saints and Somerset College. And looks like it's going to be a battle all the way to the line. But Clarendon looks like they just seem to have the edge, and they will on grabbing this race by the scruff of the neck.
Yep, we had a really good race. We've got some nice powerful watts in there. We've got lots of strong girls at the top of the ranks as well as coming through. And you can see it, the power's coming through, and the 8 is a good place to show it.
A fantastic performance by Clarendon, while Saints grabbing that second place, managing to break up the Clarendon boats. All of the racing at the Selborne Sprints happens over 500 meters, and this is super high intensity.
Very high intensity, and at Selborne Sprints only the university students are allowed to race, so you don't get any of the more senior athletes who've been at it and who've been internationals for a long time. And it means that the girls get a chance to really show off and do what they do well without being overshadowed by the more experienced athletes.
It's the women's sculls making their way towards the clubhouse now. That's MMMU and black roads and purple just to the right. UCT centre of the screen. They've got 2 boats in this race, and they're really doing well. But it looks like NMMU is going to be spoiling the party. Ennis from MMMU going for second place, but the win will go to Myburg from UCT. Fantastic finish by UCT, but great to see NMMU in there with a solid second place by Ennis. That's Buffalo City Harbour in the background as we get into the next race. Kate, sprint racing, just a lot more intense over a short distance, isn't it?
That's right, and it's a lot like the rowing equivalent of cricket's T20, so it's much more visual, exciting, intense, and the crowd is much more part of the whole race.
As we get into the junior men's quads, and the big names are here: St. John's, St. Albans, Grey High School from Port Elizabeth having a boat in this final as well.
Yeah, they've got a nice rhythm. St. Albans is generally very good at sculling races, and this is coxed quads. And St. John's is more often good at sweep all, but look at them go. The St. John's boys have really got a good handle of water, and they're sending that boat away very nicely.
It looks like St. John's going to be taking this one from St. Albans. It's going to be, it's not even a half a boat length as St. John's take the win. St. Albans in second place, while St. Andrews manages to put Bishops to the line to claim third. So the action now moves to the junior men's under 16 eights as the boats line up. A beautiful shot there as they start off at the 500 metre mark.
Yeah, and we've got Selborne in there showing colours for the local crowd. I love under 16 eights. It's all testosterone, not a lot of finesse, but in 500 metres it's actually excellent. Look at them, how close they are.
And this might just be one of the closest races of the day. St. John's furthest away from the camera, fighting it out there next to Selborne, pushing very, very hard. St. Benedict's at this stage, they could be one of the favourites in this race. You just cannot underestimate them because they really are so good.
They are, as I said, they're masters at sweep all. Very good, a very good coaching team there as well.
Coming past the clubhouse, we're into the last 250 metres of this event as we onboard the boys from Bishops from Cape Town. But it looks like it's going to be the Red Caps dominating this event. St. Benedict's made it clear they want to dominate the eights this year, and this one could be going their way.
It is, but they're inching away. We can see close to us. There's Bishop's crew coming up. And look at that, 4 crews all in a line. It's going to be a photo finish.
Photo finish indeed as we head towards the line. Look at this, Bishops taking first place and John's in second. And a wonderful effort by Bishops to grab third place. That must be one of the closest races we've seen as we now move into the senior men's coxless fours, roads closest to us. But I think with looking at their last performances, UCT must be the team to watch.
UCT are doing really well at the moment. As I said, they've got an excellent coach in Leanne Peirce. Coxless fours was born at Henley. It was a coxed event, but there was nothing in the rule book to say the cox can't jump out. So hey presto, cox jumps out, crew wins. So of course they changed the rule next year, but the coxless fours is now invented.
So into the final 250 metres we go. I was actually amazed not to see Tux performing at this one. I think they're holding back for tomorrow for the Grand Challenge as we head towards the line. UCT dead centre in the white boat. They leading towards the finish, and it's going to be a win for UCT. But a really good performance by Rhodes, managing to take second place, so UCT taking the win.
Yeah, very exciting for Rhodes. The B crew actually beat the A crew, so they were very happy. And nice that they've got 2 boats that are up to speed.
We had a chat with the Rhodes crew earlier, and they say that the biggest problem for them at the moment is training, because where they normally train, the dam is pretty low, so they've got to go all the way down to Port Alfred to train on weekends. Great performance by UCT in the Cox's fours over 500 metres. But now we shift gears as we go into the junior men under 16 Cox fours, and this, Kate, is going to be one of our big races.
At Cox fours, you generally find the boys are bigger. It tends to be heftier boys doing Cox fours, and then lighter boys doing the Coxless and the quad.
So as we head up the Buffalo, the boat in the third lane from the left, that's Grey High School from Port Elizabeth, really doing well for themselves.
And next to them is St. Benedict's, who are always put out a strong team. Their top coach, Tatu, he got honours this year. He got selected for the Olympic Youth Games, and he's also been selected as the Coach of the Year for South Africa.
But this race is a clear battle between St. Benedict's, St. John's and Grey. As we go to the finish line, it's going to be St. Benedict's taking the win, St. John's taking third, and a solid finish by Grey High School taking third place. As they head across the finish line, we get a glimpse of the St. John's crew here. They've just collapsed on the boat. They've given everything they've got. As far as the ladies' races were concerned, this was going to be a big one for the day. The junior women's first quads. St. Mary's in the centre there, definitely a team to watch.
St. Mary's are very strong, but Clarendon have been doing extremely well this year and have got a very strong team. And you can see that they're right up there giving St. Mary's a nice scare, which St. Mary's haven't had in years, if not decades.
Of course, you can't rule out St Andrews. They've got such a strong ladies rowing team, and there they go. A shot at St Andrews, surrounded by St Mary's, and then Clarendon just next to them. But look at St Mary's in the red, so easy to identify them as we're on board with the girls from St Andrews. This is going to be a close one.
Yeah, St Andrews on the outside, being edged out by Clarendon, the local team. Clarendon girls giving it their all, and nice to see them giving St Mary's a great scare, and if they'd had 2 more strokes longer, they might have got them.
I think you're right there. St Mary's takes the win, but if there was 1 more stroke in it, I think Clarendon would have taken it from St Mary's. But a really, really good finish there. St Mary's taking first, Clarendon second, and St Andrews in third. So the action now shifts to the big race of the day, the junior men's first 8s, as we're 500 metres from the finish line as they set off. Watch out for the red caps of St Benedict's. They must be favourites to take this one home.
They've got an excellent coaching team. Tato's their top coach. They've also got Ati, who's a local boy from Namato. And closest to us, you see Selborne, who are giving it their all. And it's a really nice, close race. 8's racing at its best.
If you look at last year's results, Bishop's one of the top teams in there. And, I mean, they must be one of the favourites in this race as well as we move into the 250 metre mark.
They are. They've got a relatively new coach. He's Brad Smith. He's also a local boy. He's ex-Rhodes, and he's just moved down, and he's now, he was ex-St Benedict's, and now he's at Bishop's, and you can see he's doing a great job down there.
As they fight to the line, St Benedict's takes the win. Bishop's in second, while St John's having to settle for third place. But a great effort by the boys from Bishop's, really giving it their all and taking that win. So the action moves to day 3 as we catch a glimpse of the sun rising over the harbour of Buffalo City. This is going to be the long one, racing over 2 kilometres for most of these races. Weather pretty hot today, not much of a wind. Keep in mind the universities are competing on the day as well. UCT left their mark on the Buffalo Sprints. What will happen in the Buffalo Regatta?
Yeah, we're having a really good event here today. It's very unique with all the schools and all the universities both being here, and it's just nice to have so much action by the water, so many people getting on and off. It's just really interesting. We've got a national squads here, people who row in the national squad. So yeah, it's been really good. It's been really interesting.
Rhodes Rowing has been on the up over the last few months, really putting in some good effort, but one of their big problems they've faced is finding a place to train.
It's quite difficult at the moment because our normal training venue of Settlers Dam is very, very low, so we end up having to go down to Port Alfred most weekends, so that's a bit of a ways, but I guess it just makes it a bit more fun because we all spend our weekends down there together, and it just makes the crew a lot tighter with each other.
The Rmb High Performance Rowing Centre is based at Tucson. Coach Roger Barrow had his work cut out for him selecting crews for the Olympics.
Yeah, we've got a hectic 16 months coming up with the Olympics, with Tokyo being so close. We've still got to qualify, so this year is probably my biggest year from World Champs point of view, where we're aiming to qualify 3 boats, which is the lightweight women's double, hopefully a men's pair and a men's 4, and that's our target boats at the moment. So this regatta is important to see how the guys will be racing each other. We've got 2 good 4s on, and obviously its selections on, and we'll be analysing how they do today.
So into the business end of the Rand Merchant Bank Buffalo Regatta. This is one of our 2 premier races of the day. The Senior Men's Silver Skulls. And Kate, this is the oldest racing event in the Southern Hemisphere.
It is, with the most valuable, one of the most valuable trophies as well, and it's highly contested. It's on everybody's bucket list. People travel all over the world to do this race.
I spoke to Roger Barrow prior to the event, and he said to me he doesn't have his top rowers here for this one, but these are the guys he wants to pick, and he wants to see who's going to perform to qualify for the Olympics.
That's right, and you can see it's getting these guys a lot closer to your average human being, which makes everybody want to push that little bit harder. So you've got some national squaddies there, and you've got other universities in there, as you can see from UCT, who are right up there on top of these guys.
As we catch a glimpse of the boys now heading towards the finish line, into the final 250 metres we go. Masuta definitely one to watch. He's leading at the moment. He's got a few seconds on Dafan and Hunt. Masuta pushing all the way home as they come past the clubhouse.
Yeah, Masuta will love this because he's missed out narrowly on this race before, and so being able to take this finish is excellent. Not the prettiest rowing style, but effective.
The win would go to Tabela Masuto. His name is going to be on that trophy. Dafan taking second place, Hunt in third. It was Tux all the way, but a great win by Tabela Masuto. I think he's very proud of himself.
I think I was caught off guard with the reseeding, so to be in one of the outside lanes, I think I felt it would always be a bit tougher. Then as the race panned out, I found myself down till about 1,000, and then I made a big push which put me into the lead, and I think from about then I knew the cards were in my corner, so I managed to dictate the race a bit through to the line. It's something I've wanted most of my career, since under 15 on the Buffalo River, because I've won most of the ones, or all of the ones leading up to the Junior 15, Junior 16, Junior Open. So the Silver Skull was the last one of the set, so I think that was pretty cool for me.
So with the Silver Skulls done and dusted, it's time to get into the Coxless Fours, the Grand Challenge, as they leave the start line. It's 2 kilometers to go. Kate, this one is only for the senior rowers, am I correct?
Well, it's the senior rowers, it's adults and varsity. Tux has a lot of the national squad there who are no longer in varsity, and this is where you'll see them. So they've got dicing again, the Britons against Jake Green. Last one we saw, the Britons won it. This one, I think Jake's got the edge on the start. Let's see if he holds on to it.
Tux really coming out in full strength to attack the Grand Challenge. 3 boats from them in this one. Rhodes in there as well, as is UCT. UCT coming up really strong, but I think they've left that challenge just a bit too late.
UCT really hauling themselves up the top level. You've got to admire them for really going for it. And this is how we get South African rowing better, is by having centres of excellence all over the country.
I think Tux is just going to be too strong in this one. They've come out in full force to attack the Grand Challenge. It's Tux Green, Tux Britain fighting it out for this one. But I think this victory is going to be going to Tux Green. Tux Green takes it. Britain should come in second place. And Tux Baxter claiming third. But a great finish for the Tux Green crew. The team in celebratory mode on that boat, hands in the air. I think they know what an achievement this has been. Quite an historical trophy to win. Your name goes on there with all of the other legends and crews that have dominated this race since the 1800s. And I think the guys will only truly appreciate the moment once they sit down a bit later and have a chance to take it all in. It's not all about senior teams racing at the Buffalo Regatta. Into some of the junior women's under 19 first quad racing. Clarendon in this race as well, up against some really strong teams.
They are, and they're all quite excited about racing Clarendon because they don't know what they're like, because these are all Gauteng schools who race together against each other all the time. And they don't know what Clarendon's like at all. Now, at boat race, Clarendon came 5th. Unfortunately, they had to do some overtaking. So they're about to give St Mary's a horrible shock by being right on top of them at the line.
St Mary's always dominating in the junior women's races, especially the quads. They're really going strong here. They're going to be taking the win. But a strong finish for Clarendon, going side by side with St Andrews. I mean, if you look at the results here, this is really promising for nationals coming up in 2 weeks.
It is. It's incredibly exciting to have Clarendon right up there, and St Mary's has never had anybody so close. I mean, not in years and years and years, which is fantastic.
Into our second last race of the day. It's the junior men's, the senior A8s, as we're on board with the UCT as they get off the line.
Yep, and what's interesting is at the start is you can see that they're going quarter slide, and then lengthening the slide out. The idea is to get this big boat up and running as quick as possible.
It takes a lot of effort to get this big boat going.
It does. I mean, with rowing, lactic acid is squirting out of your ears literally within a couple of seconds, and then rowers have to deal with a lot of pain through the rest of the race.
The Tux crew in full command. It looks like they're just managing to edge away slowly but surely. UCT pushing hard to try and close the gap down, but they still have Rhodes to contend with.
Well, the Rhodes boys have had a little bit of difficulty, a lot of injury recently, and so they're rebuilding. They've got quite a few novices who only just started a few months ago now into their top boat, and so they're doing well to be where they are at the moment.
Just watch the Cox on the Tux crew. They're cheering the guys on through the last strokes. Tux will be taking the win in the senior men's 8s. UCT in second, and a solid challenge from Rhodes claiming third. We're into our last race of the day. The junior men's first 8s and already off the line. St Benedict's pushing as hard as they can. I don't know who to put my money on here. I think Bishops might be in there with a chance, St John's as well, but St Benedict's definitely one of the favourites.
It has to be Benny's. Tartu's doing a brilliant job, and the master in charge is Darren Roth, who's also an excellent coach in his own right. A bunch of really good coaches, and it's nice to see Rhonda Bosch up there. Rhonda Bosch did brilliantly at boat race, seemed to have gone slightly off the boil in sprint season, but it's great to see them coming up there in fourth. I mean, that's a really good sign.
Well, I did say I think it's going to be a bet between St. Benedict's, Bishops and St. John's as we go towards the line. St. Benedict's leads, Bishops in second. Who's it going to be on the line? The boys are cheering their heart out here. It's going to be, I think St. Benedict's will take this one. St. Benedict's heading towards the line. It's going to be St. Benedict's, then Bishops. St. John's claiming third. And it's the final race of the Rand Merchant Bank Buffalo Regatta 2019. Supporters and parents really getting behind the boys as they cross the line. All that was left to do was to honour those who have performed so well during the Rand Merchant Bank Buffalo Regatta 2019. It's an event that brings out the best of South African rowing every year. Keep in mind the Nationals at Rudaplat happens in 2 weeks. And I think a lot of people looking towards that one. Tabelo Masuto taking the silver sculls, very proud of himself. But I think the guys that took the Grand Challenge, Tux Green, even happier.
Yeah, we're feeling great. So it's always good to win such a big event. We had a really good race and managed to, it went to plan, and we're really happy with that.
That concludes all of our coverage for the 2019 Rand Merchant Bank Buffalo Regatta. Till we meet again at Rudaplat, you stay safe on the water. The Rmb Buffalo Regatta proudly presented to you by the Eastern Cape Department of Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture, Buffalo City and the Eastern Cape Development Corporation.